What up, what up, what up? How are y'all doing? I'm doing great as usual. Sunday afternoon, we saw a good slate of boxing yesterday. We had Better BF winning by TKO. We got a new cruiserweight, light heavyweight, I'm not quite sure. Lawrence Okolie stopped his opponent. And then we had the big fight. Virgil Ortiz against Mighty Mo Hooker. I'm a big fan of Hooker. I like the way he fights. I like the way he tosses all of his strengths and his advantages out the window when he gets punched. If you look at Mighty Mo Hooker, you know he's a tall, lanky, rangy, powerful fighter. He's moving up from 140 to 147. I think if he could fill out a little bit more, he would be better. But I also think he could beat a lot of people if he just uses his attributes. The problem with Mighty Mo Hooker is that he gets himself into dogfights. Now, as a boxing fan, we love to see it. That's why I am a huge fan of Mighty Mo Hooker. But before this fight, of course, I picked Virgil Ortiz. And there's a couple reasons why I picked Virgil Ortiz. One is because he's part of the Robert Garcia camp. He is part of a stable that is really unrivaled in the sport of boxing. The amount of sparring he gets, the people around him, the boxing talk that floats around the gym. I mean, as they say, you're only as good as the company you keep. And Virgil Ortiz keeps some great company. Now, just for all y'all who might be thinking that I'm a Monday morning quarterback, let me go back to a clip a couple days ago when I was co-host on the Boxing Voice. Shout out to Ness, shout out to Doomy, Mario, Francis, the whole Boxing Voice family. And let me just show you this clip just to prove that your man Moore's house ain't no Monday morning quarterback. Hold up.
Fight goes into the later rounds, man. But for some reason, I see Virgil doing it again.
Yeah?
He just does it again.
That's what I was
It's
gonna
gonna
ask.
be it's gonna be Hooker Ramirez 2 all over again.
Think so?
Non-stop. Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh, is Hooker
Virgil
that style?
Ortiz is
Yeah,
huh?
Ramirez beat him by TKO.
Wait, is Hooker
Yeah.
like a slugger or
No, no,
what is his
no.
style? He's a
He
boxer.
definitely falls into that category when he's pulled into a fight. He wants to see slugged with Salcido.
He's definitely a
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Virgil Ortiz is a beast. He's a beast. And even though Mighty Mo Hooker was coming up from 140 to 147, Mighty Mo does belong at 147. He's a monster. But like I said, and just like Mike Tyson has said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And I think that's the biggest downfall of Mighty Mo Hooker. He's a tall, rangy guy. He should box. He should box. He should box. And then once in a while, he should crack that right hand in because he's got power. But he's a prideful fighter. He's got too much pride for his own good. But as fans, you got to love it. Because every time you see Mighty Mo Hooker fight, you're going to see a great fight. It's just how it is. So, Of course, Virgil Ortiz got the stoppage in the 7th round, partly because he was doing a lot of damage to Maurice Hooker's body. But also, I think Maurice Hooker either fractured or broke his hand or wrist. He threw a looping liver shot punch, and I think it caught Virgil Ortiz right on that hip bone. So as Muddy Mo was throwing that left hook to the body, and instead of catching the body, he caught the hip bone. But at that same time, Virgil Ortiz threw his own body shot and got him. And I think Muddy Mo knew right away that he has been in that night with a tough fight, and I think he realized that with one hand he just wasn't going to do anything. But let's not take anything away from Virgil Ortiz. If Muddy Mo didn't hurt his hands, it was still going to be a dominant performance by Virgil Ortiz. So what's next for Maurice Hooker? I say stay at 147. There's plenty of fights there for you. Plenty of fights for Maurice Hooker. He can go right through the line. Right through the line. All the 147 pounders. And he wouldn't be that much of an underdog. In my eyes, I like him. I enjoy him. I enjoy watching him fight. And for whatever reason, if it came down to watching him on pay-per-view, he's got my money. Because he's just that type of fighter. He's a great fighter. So now we come to, I guess, the main point of this video. The point of this video that gets me a little bit heated, and I don't understand. After the fight, we heard Virgil Ortiz call out Terrence Crawford. Now, as soon as he called out Terrence Crawford, we heard boxing pundits, we saw other YouTube channels, we saw other fighters, we saw other trainers say, no. Ortiz is too young. This is too soon. And what I say to them people is get away from the Money Mayweather mentality. I'm so sick and tired of that. Sick and tired of it. Everybody in the boxing community, and this is one of the reasons why the boxing community is failing, is because if one fighter gets a loss on their record, you guys act like they're done and over with. They're junk. They're trash. They're washed up. They don't have it anymore. And that's so far from the truth. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, how many losses does Manny Pacquiao have? And in his last fight, he dropped Keith Thurman and beat Keith Thurman easily. A guy who was considered a top 147 pounder. Who was a champion at one point. So yes, I would like to see Ortiz fight Crawford. I would love to see it. And you know what? If he loses, he loses. He's young. He can come again. And if all these people and all these fans keep telling someone, no, don't take the fight. Don't take the fight. Well, when the hell are we going to see great fights? When all these fighters are 40 years old? We're going to have to wait for Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao? No. Fight. If you lose, okay, get up, dust yourself off, and fight again. It drives me crazy with that mentality. My favorite fighter is Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia went into the ring with Errol Spence Jr. and dared to be great. And he got his ass whooped for 12 rounds. His family, his father, his brother wanted to pull him out of the fight because he was getting beat so bad. And you know what? He stayed in there. He took his licks. And I'm sure he was learning lessons along the way because he's an intelligent fighter. Now, just because my favorite fighter has one loss, am I going to abandon ship? Am I going to run for the hills? Hell no. If he goes on pay-per-view tomorrow, I'm buying the fight. It's my favorite fighter. And just an example for all you young fighters out there who are trying to protect your O. Mikey Garcia lost to Errol Spence. And he lost to him pretty bad. But you know what Mikey Garcia got in his next fight to fight Jesse Vargas on the zone? He got upwards to $8 million. Probably his second highest payday. So us as fans and you journalists out there, you pundits, YouTube channels, you got to stop this narrative of just banishing people once they have one loss. If Virgil Ortiz goes in and fights Crawford and puts up a good fight, or even if he doesn't put up a good fight, all of a sudden he's trash now after everything he's done? No, he's young enough. He can come again. And if you lose to one of the pound-for-pound greats, you're trash. I mean, this is the type of stuff that makes me sick with the boxing community. How come in MMA, every one of these MMA fighters got 4 or 5 losses? Champion, the UFC champions got 6 losses. It's when you fight the best, sometimes you're going to lose. It is what it is. It's very rare that you can be a Floyd Mayweather. It's very rare. Now, Floyd Mayweather didn't make all that money because he was undefeated. No. Floyd Mayweather made all that money because he was controversial. He made scenes. He was a self-promoter. So, I'm calling out to all boxing fans. Don't tell these guys not to fight other fighters. That doesn't help the sport. We should see Virgil Ortiz fight Terrence Crawford. Why? Because I believe it'll be a decent fight. 2, nobody else is stepping up to fight Bud Crawford. And 3, if Virgil Ortiz loses, he'll come again. So everybody as a boxing fan, let's get out of that mindset. That is hurting the sport of boxing. Deontay Wilder lost to Tyson Fury. Is he trash now? Is he a bum? Do we hate him? No. We don't hate Deontay Wilder because he lost. It's not like we don't ever want to see Deontay Wilder fight again. There's some of us that dislike Deontay Wilder for what happened after the Fury fight. But we still want to see Deontay Wilder fight. He's exciting. When you fight great fighters, sometimes you come up short. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. It doesn't mean that you are a shit fighter. So that's my thoughts on this weekend of boxing. Virgil Ortiz, for whatever reason you hear this, or someone in your camp hears this, go fight Crawford. And if you lose, I'm still rocking with you. I'm sure most of your fans are still going to rock with you. And for any of those people who are your fans, so-called fans, and you take that fight and you lose and they jump ship, well, you didn't need them anyway. So, that's my thoughts. Y'all know what it is. This is Moore's house. And y'all know what it is. I need you to subscribe, like, and share. New channel, trying to build an audience, trying to have enough people that follow me so I can go live and talk to the people out there. So, once again, I want to give a shout out to the Boxing Voice. I want to give a shout out to Real Talk Boxing. And make sure you come back to Moore's house. The door's always open. Peace.